Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to formally welcome you to the reception celebration of the new Mr. and Mrs. James and Jenna Bashford. Firstly, like you to join me in welcoming bridesmaid Marissa. Jenna met Marissa during her Navy gap year, and Jenna describes Marissa as a wonderful friend who managed to always make even the most mundane things enjoyable. With Marissa is groomsman Kai. Kai and James have been friends for as long as they both can remember, and he is also the reason why James was scared to have a bucks party. Okay, next is bridesmaid Rachel, who also met Jenna in the Navy. She is one of Jenna's closest friends, her favourite travel buddy, and she also allegedly foresaw James and Jenna getting married before they did. Accompanying Rachel is groomsman Jared. Jared is a pilot in the Navy, but don't worry, he'll be sure to tell you all about it. Next, we welcome bridesmaid Brooke, who also did the gap year with Jenna. Brooke is an amazing friend who is always willing to listen and share a bag of Alan's party mix when things get tough. With Brooke is groomsman Sam. James met Sam through the online dating site World of Warcraft. And now James considers him an unofficial brother. Now we have bridesmaid Katie. Katie is Jenna's wonderful sister-in-law, board game buddy and a favourite ex-housemate. Accompanying Katie is groomsman Scott. Scott is a long-time friend of James and the first person brave enough to venture overseas with him to race mountain bikes. The dancing entertainment is provided by Isabel and Peter. Jenna's maid of honour today is her older sister, Ali. Ali is a fantastic role model to Jenna, her favourite childhood playmate, and she has been an incredible support to Jenna in helping with the wedding preparations. With Ali is best man Aaron. Aaron is James's older brother and the person he absolutely hates most to be beaten by. Now would you please stand and join me in welcoming the newlyweds, Mr. and Mrs. James and Jenna Bashford. Sounds like somebody wants to upstage us with a speech, but anyway. Before brunch is served, we'll have two speeches from the groomsmen and the bridesmaids. I now once again welcome Aaron Bashford, who will say a few words.
Hello everyone, thanks for coming. For those of you who don't know, I'm Aaron, James's older best brother. I can say that because our younger brother couldn't make it today. So, I'd like to start by saying thanks to everyone who's travelled here from near and far for this special day. Jen's family from Tasmania, our mothers come from the Gold Coast. I hear people from Sydney, Adelaide, Singapore even, Canberra. It always amazes me how far people have travelled for a free feed. A special thanks to Jenna's parents Chris and Julia for raising such an amazing person. Jen, you look stunning today. Absolutely amazing. I think everyone would have to agree with that. Now the fun stuff. I should start by giving you a little background on James and my relationship. We first met in the 80s. It was a time where brothers wore matching fluoro tracksuits to the Hyperdome. They were good times. I was a little bit of a prankster growing up. Most of the pranks were targeted at my younger brother. Sorry, it's falling down. Some of them weren't too bad, some of them really bad. but I won't elaborate on that. I remember that if I ever wanted to try something dangerous and I wasn't 100% sure if it was going to end up in an injury for me, I'd just convince my brother to try it first, and he always did. He's always been braver than me, and that probably comes from that, I reckon. But what else are younger brothers for, right? You got to convince them to do stuff you don't want to do. Good job, Jimbo. Always doing it, still to this day. I was about 5 years old when Jimbo had reached the same size as me. Not long after, I was getting his hand-me-downs, which felt great. Most people see us together for the first time. The first question that often comes up to me straight afterwards is, why is he so much bigger than you? What happened to you? And were you properly fed as a child? Mum, did you ever think that breastfeeding Jimbo till he was 8 years old went a little too far? We never really got along great through our early teens. My fault. I was nasty. Mum, you could agree? But I've come good, right? I was just a teenager. We started hanging out again a lot in our later teens. Mountain bikes, movies, and girls were common interests of ours. We both started hanging out with the man with the moustache there, Kai. I think that's when our friendship got a heck of a lot better, the three of us. And times definitely got a little wilder after that. Kai is an interesting man. Everyone should have a chat to him today. A great man. Jimbo, we've fought, we've laughed, we've partied, and we've really partied. We've travelled the world together, and our relationship only seems to be getting stronger and stronger. That's awesome. I first properly met Jen in Huskisson at breakfast back in 2013, I think it was. My wife Bron and I were there, and I remember very early in the conversation at breakfast, Jimbo bringing up marriage and kids. And this is literally the first time we'd had a chin wag with Jen. They'd been together for a little bit. We were a little taken back, but it's great to see that they've now ticked one of those off. And if you've ever seen the way that they treat their dog Hugo, they're really not that far off the second. Jen, you're smart, kind, generous, compassionate, and you're so easy to get along with. Obviously beautiful, and Jimbo's just so lucky to have you. Jimbo, you're quite tall. You have an amazing ability to grow hair out of places I never thought possible. And I'm hairy. You love milk, Mum. And I've never known someone to get as frenzy whipped as you. And I can really get frenzy whipped, and he takes it to another level. Good luck, Jen. Honestly though, I'm really stoked that Jen's now officially part of the family. You guys have always had room for me, even if I've only given you about half an hour's notice. I really appreciate it. And you also haven't had it that easy. It's not easy having a relationship and living apart. And I've always been super impressed with how you guys have handled that. And it just shows how strong your relationship is, and it's a credit to you both. Now, if I could ask Jen to place your hand palm down on the table, please. Jimbo, can you please place your hand on top of Jen's? Remember this moment, Jimbo. It's probably the last time you'll ever have the upper hand. And that's the script done, so now I'm going to free range. No, that's really it. I'm just so stoked to finally meet all your family, Jen. Huge family who are here from Tasmania, and it's amazing. Can't wait to have a talk to you all. Our family's not quite as big, but it's just fantastic to see everyone's made the trip here, and you guys are amazing. I love you both, and I just can't wait to spend the rest of our lives together, hanging out. What's that? Maybe riding bikes, yeah, maybe riding bikes. One last thing I've got to say about my brother, it's something that I remember more than anything actually now, is the way he reacted to the news of us having our first child. It was just the most special moment ever, how emotional Jimbo got. And I just love how caring and loving you are, bro. It's awesome. And you're fantastic with my daughter. And I love that you're a godfather. And I can't wait to see how you react with the next one. Thanks, guys. I hope everyone has a really great day. Cheers.
Thank you, Aaron. I was wondering there for a minute if I'm at the right wedding. Who's this Jenny you're talking about? Okay. Now invite Ali and Rachel to speak on behalf of the bridesmaids.
Hello and good morning. I'm Ali, Jenna's sister, and this is Rachel, one of Jenna's best friends. We'd just like to start by thanking everyone here today for their support and love for Jenna and James. Thank you for all looking fantastic and being here this morning, even though it's meant a very early start for some of us. I'm not as tall as Ali. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. So, as Ali said, my name is Rachel. I met Jenna when we joined the Navy together back in 2010. So Jenna and I, along with our beautiful friends Brooke and Marissa, started our journey in recruit school together, and we instantly became best friends. It's amazing how joint suffering brings people together. Jenna has been the glue that holds us together. She's level-headed, kind, and beyond measure such a beautiful, dedicated friend. Julia and Chris, you must be so proud of your beautiful girl. Since we met, I've been lucky enough to be present for many significant moments in Jenna's life. The biggest part, seeing the start of the beautiful love story between Jenna and James. In 2011, Jenna and I were posted to HMAS Albatross in Nowra. This is where we met Midshipman Bashford. Through our time at HMAS Albatross, James was a wonderful mentor and friend to both Jenna and myself. Jenna and James shared an interest in aviation. So over the few months that we were there, James taught Jenna more about military aircraft, even organising simulation flights for her. Jenna was insistent they were just friends, but I could see something blossoming between them. Even after we left the military, I was still hopeful that somehow Jenna and James would cross paths again. In March 2013, after some liquid courage, James finally messaged Jenna and told her that he liked her. When Jenna told me, I was like, about bloody time. After their first date, Jenna and James were inseparable. It's been a privilege to watch you both fall in love and start your lives together. I'm so excited to see what the future brings for you both. My friends, I love you so much. Congratulations. So it was some time after Jenna and James started dating before Jenna's family finally got to meet James. It got to the point where we did start... It's all right. It's all right. Yeah. Don't touch that. So it got to the point where we did start to wonder if, in fact, James actually existed, and James was referred to for some time as Jenna's imaginary boyfriend. Eventually, though, James finally met our parents, and he did so in style. What better way to impress your future in-laws than by scheduling a visit to their hometown and flying in on a Navy helicopter? What a way to introduce yourself. James seems to have quite the knack for accumulating brownie points. On another Navy work visit to Tasmania, James had organised to do a quick training flight out to King Island and back again. He was able to bring back the very popular King Island Surprise Bay cheddar cheese for our afternoon tea. This trip to King Island, funded by the Navy, was no doubt at great expense to the taxpayer and was a bold move that won over Jenna's family of cheese lovers. So the first time I met James was on one of his early visits to Tasmania with Jenna, which was to be his baptism by fire into meeting the very large extended Nielsen family for Christmas. I remember feeling rather sorry for James, as we were all staying with my parents for Christmas, a total of 8 adults and one 10-week-old baby boy, which was my son Alexander, in the one house. I recall asking Jenna if she thought it might be better for James if they stayed elsewhere, to which her response was, "He'll survive." And anyway, he loves kids. I remember thinking to myself, if James was prepared to put up with all of us, he must really like my sister a lot, and figured if he could survive that first Christmas, it was a pretty positive sign for their future together. James took it all in his stride, was polite enough not to comment on the overnight wakings from baby Alex, and he made a good first impression on the extended Nielsen family. You're getting a bit heavy. Okay, Rachel. So just a bit of history going back to Jenna's childhood. For those of you who don't know, Jenna's the youngest sibling. She's the youngest of 3 children. As the youngest, poor Jenna was no stranger to teasing and being picked on as we grew up. Looking back, I can now admit with some shame that we were rather awful to her at times. Because she was such an adorable, chubby baby, she ended up with the nickname Jenna and a Fatty Frenna. And due to her legendary stubbornness, was also known as Taurus the Bull. Yeah. One weekend, our brother Michael and I had made a cubby house, and for the first time, we said Jenna could sleep in the cubby with us. Needless to say, she was very excited all day about this prospect. Little did she know, Mike and I had rigged the roof section over her cubby bed to collapse on her once she was lying down, and an assortment of Lego and toys fell on her. Her resultant screaming brought our parents running. From memory, I think that was the end of sleeping in cubbies at our house. Jenna, in spite of this teasing, you have grown into an extraordinary young woman. Sorry. Today, on your wedding day, you look stunning. You have timeless beauty, elegance and grace. I am so proud to call you my sister. I hope that today is everything you have dreamed of. Sorry, I'll try and get it together. Jenna and James, you are a perfect match. You have organised the perfect day and the perfect wedding to celebrate your love. Both of you are easygoing and friendly. You share a love of travel, adventure and the great outdoors. You both seem to have the perfect work-life balance. You both have rewarding careers and yet seem to find plenty of time for travel and other sporting adventures like mountain biking and snowboarding. I hope that as a married couple, the new Team Bashford continues this intrepid lifestyle for many years to come.
Need to grow a few feet. Lastly, on behalf of the bride and groom and the bridesmaids, we would like to toast the 5 men who have helped prepare James for today and make sure he was here on time. We don't know really what state you were really in, but we would like to thank you all and be upstanding and join me in a toast to the groomsmen. So cheers, guys.
Cheers.
That's okay.
Okay, thank you, Ali and Rachel. Please be advised brunch will be served shortly. Please enjoy. That ends the speeches for this part of the program.